talking about trauma, part 2 in our series about trauma. In the last video, we talked about the effects trauma has on the body, increasing inflammation, intestinal permeability, causing a dysregulation and dysfunction in the immune system and our mitochondria. In this video, we're going to talk about how approaching trauma from a quantum biological perspective is a much different approach that can be successful in places where traditional trauma therapy is not. We're going to talk about a little bit about psychoneuroimmunology and our mitochondria, as well as biofield therapies. So what is the biofield? The biofield really is just our energetic field. And as soon as I say that, as soon as we start talking about energy or I say the word quantum, people immediately think that I'm talking about spiritual woo aspects. And while those things are wonderful, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actual physics. I'm talking about the electromagnetic fields that excite electrons and allow our light bulbs to turn on, allow us to charge our phones. I'm talking about that field of electromagnetic frequency that emits out from our cells, from our body overall. We have this toroidal field that emits energy out into the environment around us. Not only does it emit this energy, this frequency, this information out into the field, but it also captures energy and brings it back to us, right? It's this torus of energy. And this is one of the ways that we can really impact our ability to face chronic stress and trauma, but also heal from it, right? There's a recent research article out there showing that biofield therapies, and what am I talking about? I'm talking about Reiki, I'm talking about healing touch, I'm talking about Qigong, I'm talking about acupuncture, I'm talking about energies that impact that electromagnetic field. And this research article was looking at healing touch and its efficiency to help people with traumatic events heal from that trauma, right? And so we see that it can be really effective. And when I'm talking about it right now, I'm talking about EMF fields, right? We know that our cells communicate in an electrical magnetic frequency, in a electrical frequency language, right? This language is something that pervades our universe, life on this planet, and certainly action within our body, right? But biofield therapies aren't just boxed in the category of EMF fields. It leaves it open to something that we may not have discovered yet, right? But looking at the electromagnetic field of the body and its interaction and its communication is fascinating enough. We know that cells communicate with an electromagnetic frequency. The work of Daniel Fells and how our cells communicate, Luc Montagnier, Jacques Benveniste, so many others have shown that there is this language in our body of electromagnetic frequency, and biofield therapies work in that way. They excite that field. They emit a frequency and an information to the biofield that can be helpful in healing trauma. And when we look at mitochondrial function, when we're talking about healing from trauma, we see from the work of people like Martin Picard that our psychoneurological immunological state, our psychoneuroimmunology, really impacts the function of our mitochondria. And what is psychoneuroimmunology? That's just a big word for saying how our thoughts, how our emotions, how our reactions impact our biology overall. And we know that they have a big impact on all of those things I mentioned, on our inflammatory state, our immune function, our ability to have intact a gastrointestinal tract and a decrease in intestinal permeability, as well as mitochondrial function, right? Picard has done wonderful work showing that our thoughts and emotions have a direct impact on the ability of our mitochondria to produce ATP. And again, ATP is that energy source in the body. Any dips in mitochondrial function and voltage, dips in ATP production, are associated with symptoms and disease onset. Now, it's important to remember, like in quantum biology, things are always in flux. Homeostasis in the body is a state of flux, right? It is the ability, the resilience to fluctuate from state to state. So we're not talking about a static state where we have to always be having high ATP production and high mitochondrial function. It is supposed to flux, right? But if we stay in that state where we're not producing ATP and where our mitochondria is having dysfunction, then it's absolutely associated with symptoms and disease onset. And this includes trauma, our ability to navigate chronic stress, as well as our overall resilience. Our mitochondrial function is paramount. Our mitochondria are not just creating ATP, they are sensors in the world around us. They receive information about our environment external to us, as well as the environment that's internal to us, and can be valuable players in not only our ability to navigate future trauma and chronic stress, but to heal from past traumas and stressors in our life. So if you like this content, again, please subscribe, give me a like, leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching and joining me here.